Hello, well today I'm a long way from Lincolnshire, my usual stomping ground. I'm in the county of Suffolk and I'm at a place I wanted to visit for a very long time, the mysterious Rendlesham Forest.
Rendlesham Forest covers an area that is around 1,500 hectares in size. It's on the coastal belt known as the Sandlings, and it's the site of Britain's most famous UFO incident. However, there have been many little-known reports of mysterious creatures roaming the forest. People have encountered big cats and phantom black dogs.
Rendlesham Forest is said to be the home of an even more bizarre creature known as the Shug Monkey, said to be a bizarre hybrid between a huge dog and a large ape.
In 1956, a man named Sam Holland claimed to have had an encounter with the fearsome Shug Monkey. He was walking through the forest with his dog when he saw a monstrous creature come looming out of the trees in front of him. It walked on 4 muscular legs like a lion's, and its fur was black and glossy. It was easily 10 feet in length. Now at first he thought he had stumbled across some kind of big cat that had escaped from a zoo or a private estate. That is, until it turned in his direction. He described the creature as having a face like a silverback gorilla, with a thick neck, widely flaring nostrils, and terrifying jaws. The creature stared at him and his whimpering dog before appearing to lose interest and disappearing into the forest. When he was asked about the incident decades later, Holland maintained his sighting had been genuine, but he believed the creature had been paranormal rather than physical in origin. The bizarre Shug Monkey is said to haunt other parts of East Anglia, most notably Slough Hill Lane in West Ratting, Cambridgeshire.
The word shug is believed to come from the Old English word skucker, which means demon, and it appears to be a variation of Black Shuck, the hellhound that haunts the coastline of East Anglia. Not surprisingly, Rendlesham Forest is reputed to be a very haunted place. Larry Warren, a former US airman who was stationed at nearby RAF Bentwaters during the time of the famous UFO incident, told author Nick Redfern the dark tales of ghosts and witchcraft he'd heard during the time that he was stationed at the airbase, like the legend of what was known on Bentwaters as the ghostly lady without a face. Who she was or how she lost her face is unknown, but she was said to ride a ghostly bicycle along a stretch of road that connected Bentwaters with nearby RAF Woodbridge, and she wails and screams at anyone unfortunate enough to cross her path. There was also the ghost of a German Luftwaffe pilot who was shot down over Rendlesham Forest during the Battle of Britain. Legend has it that the pilot survived the crash only to be captured by an angry mob who burned him alive. His ghost, nicknamed East End Charlie, was said to walk the flight line of Woodbridge, and despite his violent end, Charlie was said to be mischievous rather than malevolent. He supposedly sat on the hood of the base fire department's patrol vehicle and burned his handprints into the metal. It's fair to say that Rendlesham Forest and its environs is steeped in mystery and folklore. For example, according to legend, the nearby coastal town of Orford was once visited by a mysterious wild man. The story was recorded in the year 1200 by Ralph of Coggeshall in his manuscript
Chronicum Anglicanum.
In the time of King Henry II, when Bartholomew de Granville was in charge of the castle at Orford, it happened that some fishermen fishing in the sea there caught in their nets a wild man. He was naked, covered with hair and with a long shaggy beard. He would not talk, even when tortured and hung up by his feet. Brought into the church, he showed no sign of reverence or belief. He sought his bed at sunset and always remained there until sunrise. He was allowed to go into the sea, strongly guarded with 3 lines of nets, but he dived under the nets and came up again and again. Eventually, he came back of his own free will, but later on he escaped and was never seen again.
Now, I can't leave Rendlesham Forest without a mention of the famous UFO incident that occurred here in December 1980.
Now, there has been a wealth of books and documentaries over the years about what is justifiably known as the British Roswell, so you don't need me to tell you what you probably already know. However, I'm going to walk the Rendlesham Forest UFO trail. It's a 3-mile circular walk through the forest, and it takes you to the areas connected to the famous UFO encounter. So let's go. Now, just after 2 a.m. on the morning of the 27th of December 1980, 2 security police patrolmen saw unusual lights through the trees outside the East Gate to RAF Woodbridge Airfield. And this path leads to the East Gate. So, I'll see you when we get there. This is the East Gate of the former RAF Woodbridge, and this is where the 2 American airmen on night patrol saw strange lights in the forest, and they were given permission to leave the base and investigate. There was nothing much beyond the gate. I believe the base closed in 1993. Now, at first the airmen thought they had seen a crashed plane. However, it was Christmas and there was no scheduled flying for that night. They were joined by 2 airmen, but one was ordered to remain on patrol at the East Gate. And from here they drove to the end of the forest road. Now, I'm guessing that from here the men got out of the vehicle because they entered the forest on foot until they reached the eastern edge. They said the air was filled with electricity as they drew closer to the lights, and then they saw the object. They described it as triangular in shape and about the size of a tank. It hovered 12 inches off the ground, and they watched it weave in and out of the trees before it shot into the air at an impossible speed. The next day, Air Force personnel and the local police searched the area, and they found that some of the trees surrounding the clearing had been damaged and there were strange indentations on the ground. However, the next night, the mysterious craft returned. Now we're nearing the end of the UFO trail, and I'm approaching the clearing where the UFO landed. And it's still here, or rather a model of it.
Now, several hours before the lights were seen in the forest, a local resident reported seeing an object in the sky above his garden that looked like an upturned mushroom. And if this is what he saw, then that's a good description. Now I've just been soaking up the atmosphere because I've read so much about the Rendlesham Forest incident over the years, and I've seen numerous documentaries. I remember when it happened, and it's amazing to actually be here on the site of one of the most famous UFO encounters. Now apparently after the incident, the radiation levels here were 10 times the normal background level. The original trees in the clearing were contaminated and cut down, and there are still areas where nothing will grow. Now there is so much more to this famous UFO case, but it's so well documented, and I'm sure that most people watching this will know all about the Rendlesham Forest incident. Anyway, if you've made it this far, then thank you very much for joining me on my tour of the mysterious Rendlesham Forest. And I do hope you will join me again next time.